Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we got something extremely exciting, a brand new Winterblade, and yes, the wizard is at it again. We have a huge drop October 23rd at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. He has 3 different models that are going to be dropping on the Winterblade site, so you're not pre-ordering, they're going to be actual drops. 3 different models, this is one of them. We're going to take a deep dive, and boy did I have fun with this one. So this particular one is the Winterblade Veyron. The OEM on this one was Conwu. Pretty cool seeing him venture out to other OEMs. I don't know if there was a certain reason or not, but I'm excited about it. I like Conwu. And this is not a small knife. This one comes in at 8.15 inches long, has a 3.36 inch blade, and my particular version, if you see right here hidden, is in CPM 20 CV. That is Rockwell from 61 to 63 HRC. And in my experience, Conwu does a fantastic job with their heat treating. There's also a version in Vanex Super Clean, and that one you can get with a stonewash blade or gloss DLC. Whoo, I bet you that thing looks sick. I actually got one right here in my pocket. Let's see. That's what a Conwu polished DLC or glossy DLC looks like. It's a fingerprint magnet, but it's a beauty. I don't know what this one is. It may be a DLC, maybe a matte DLC, I'm not sure, or a PVD, something like that. But yeah, you see, we had a little fun with it. So being this has a straight edge to it, it's going to be a fantastic utility cutter. Great for doing fine precision cuts. If you need to trace something out real intricate, you definitely better do that because you have a nice and fine tip there. The in-hand cuts, this thing's going to be super powerful because you got full power from heel to tip, being that edge is straight once again. Because the more you push into it and you have to turn in your natural turn of your wrist, this is just going to go deeper and deeper into what you're cutting. So yeah, it should be great with the utility style cuts. No jumps up top, but I didn't really find it necessary. A fantastic sharpening tool, or you could call it somewhat of a forward finger tool. I can kind of get my finger up there, but it doesn't feel natural. Most of the time I came right here in this flat spot. But look at all this sharpening life. Let's see if I can show you good. See where my fingernail is? You better sharpen it pretty much the life of this blade before it'll even think about widening right here. Blade stock's coming in at 0.13, so it's a little chunky on the blade stock, but I think this is more designed as a more rugged winter blade. You still have a nice full flat grind, nice top swedge just for some flair. And that full flat grind, that edge comes down to around 19 thousandths behind the edge, and my particular knife is sharpened to 23 degrees per side from factory. Let's see what this bad boy can do. You're going to want to see this. Yeah, Conwu did a great job of sending out the knife nice and sharp like they usually do. I had this very large pizza box just laying around, so I decided to cut it up first. We cut up a lot of cardboard, and this was a massive box. I don't know what size pizza this was. Definitely no size we usually have around in this area, but yeah, it's really going to excel at this type of stuff. It's got a straight edge, and as long as you don't fall in that large troll area, which I mean I got used to that real quick. Like a few times I did put my finger in there. It's decently comfortable. You could definitely do this type of stuff if you're worried about getting hung up in that troll area. But yeah, full flat grind, slicing very, very well. The geometry on this knife, I think is good if you're trying to, he's trying to make it a tougher knife. I think it's like still nice and thin. I think it's like 19 thousandths behind the edge, and it has a 23 degrees per side edge bevel. The only reason I know it's exactly 23 degrees per side is because after I finished up all the testing, I sharpened it up, and that's what I put back on it just for now. I plan on laying this edge back to about 17 degrees per side, being that it's in 20 CV, because 20 CV can handle those really fine edges. And yeah, I think it's going to be outstanding that way. It's still going to be nice and thin behind the edge after I do that because of how thin it is now. But you can see I'm doing all kinds of different cutting, and just this box alone is a lot more than I normally cut up, and I decided to do the regular long piece that I had anyway. I'm not sure. I think I might have even done the other piece that I usually do. I can't remember offhand, but it didn't slow down at all. Blasted through this, and yeah, my wife was sitting on side of me giving me the nastiest look because there was a ton ton of cardboard clippings all over the counter. Now we're testing those ergos. And at this part, doing the light stuff, making the fine feathers, it's got a good edge. Its fine edge is biting really fast. And once I start increasing it, I can kind of start feeling the bottom part of the scales. Just, you can see me kind of adjusting my hands. It wasn't terrible or anything, but I could definitely feel it. I could feel it in my hand. It was a little just awkward, more than pain, but did feel a little discomfort at the bottom part of the scale. Now, I did decide to lift this one up on a block just because it's just a very unenjoyable testing if a knife has a straight edge. Now, you will see after this that you can do some stuff on a flat cutting surface easy. You're just not going to get as much of that cutting edge onto the flat surface because the tip's going to contact the flat surface before the rest of the edge does. So, it's not the end of the world, but it is a pretty nice aggressive cutter. It does have good bite to it. I don't know, I think we cut like 160 cuts with the piece I cut. I wasn't, like I say all the time, I'm not testing for edge retention. I'm just basically making sure that the edge apex doesn't have any craziness go on. If, in 20 CV, it shouldn't have any chips or rolls by doing, sisal rope, or at least this much. Now, will there be some dulling? Of course. Sisal rope is some nasty, nasty stuff. It dulls edges easily. The more and more you cut. But yeah, I'm more than happy. It was comfortable in the pinch grip too. I felt really locked in, and there you go. That's another thing that's really, really going to shine at those very fine precision cuts with that tip. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I just decided to cut the rest of this piece up because why not? Anytime I'm having a good time like this, I try to throw extra stuff in there. So that just goes to show you how much this knife was excelling. And like I said earlier, you can do some things on a flat cutting surface. You just got to be mindful of where that tip is when you're coming down so you don't crash into whatever cutting board you're using or whatever you're doing. I could feel it here that I was just getting that tip toward the bottom part of the cut. Yeah, not terrible. Okay, do not advise doing this. I'm doing it so you don't have to. I'm playing with the house's money here. They sent this to me, so, I wouldn't want anybody to mess up their knife, and I'm impressed. Folding knives aren't made to baton. They have way too many moving parts. I'm putting a lot of pressure on certain areas, and it could fail. I go a little crazy at the end. The vibration didn't unlock it. It did a great job, and I call that a win. So, what do y'all think? Love to hear y'all thoughts in the comments. But, yeah, and make sure you don't have any oil on your lock face either. But, look, you can see how much pressure I'm putting into this wood. And then watch toward the end. I really go crazy with this. Giving a there it is. Yeah. A-okay. Everything's solid as a rock. We'll check it out a little closer in a little while. Yeah, this one was such a fun one to test. I had a lot of fun. Now let's look at the deployment and action of this knife. This is another place this knife truly shines. You got the blade hole, excellent for reverse flicking, and this locking system has dual action to it. You can manipulate the lock either from the crossbars right here, like an axis lock kinda, and then this little piece of nub right here that comes up is also, we're gonna take a better look at it in just a second, but that also allows you to disengage that lock. Super, super smooth. The action is just phenomenal. Now, I do think the tension for the, detent caused by the springs in here could be a little bit stronger because I can not super easy, but just a little light flip open, it comes out fairly easy. So I do think it could have been strengthened just a hair. It didn't feel dangerous or anything the way it is, at least in my opinion. It's riding on ceramic bearings. Another cool thing is both of these allow you to keep your fingers out of the blade path when closing. I can use the crossbar, and then I can use this top piece. Both of those, my fingers are nowhere near the blade path when closing. Now, let's go to the handle area. I have the G10 variant. There's also a full titanium variant. That one, oh man, I'm really considering on picking one of those up as well. Mine's more the Stormtrooper theme. Now, while it looks good, white G10 is never the best idea because I don't know if you can see it. It looks like off-white right now. Let me show you. I cleaned the other side. See how white this side is? Now, it's very easy to clean. I took an alcohol prep pad, wiped it down real good, and then came with a microfiber cloth and wiped all the excess dirt off. You can use a magic eraser. You can use Dawn soap. You just got to be careful. I don't know about soap in this lock area. We'll check it out in just a second. Got some lightning pockets in there, milled sections just for some added aesthetics. What you're seeing right there behind it is the actual stainless steel liners. So while white looks good, it gets dirty very, very fast. From the natural oils in your hands, the grit on your hands, dead skin. No matter what you do, you either have to clean it every day or just ride with it the way it is. That's probably what I'll do. I don't really care if it's dirty. Or if it gets on your nerves too much, you could dye it very easy. White dyes very easily. You got chamfers going around the side. You got this large choil right here. That's what I was talking about during the testing. You know, it's fairly comfortable. You know, it just, whenever I really started bearing down, this edge right here was starting to kind of bother my finger. Where I'm sitting and I'm pushing hard, that's pushing back against me. Might have been in this corner, but it's not sharp or anything. But, you know, with that large opening right there, it kind of pushes the knife back a little bit. Now, for medium to moderate pressure, it's perfectly fine. There was really nothing else that was kind of bothering me any. I thought this was going to bother me. It wasn't bad. I do like that thicker section. It allows you to grab a hold of it up there in the front if you want to get closer to that edge. Your pivot and all your other hardwares, Torx T8, even the screw on this little crossbar, outstanding job. Love it, and that's going to help me in just a second whenever I take this apart and show y'all what it looks like. We have a pretty fat milled titanium pocket clip that is reversible, which is a great thing because this lock is completely ambidextrous. You can easily use it left-handed as well, so it's nice to be able to have a pocket clip that you can swap over. Being that it's a blade hole, you know, that's another thing that you could easily access. Lefty. And one more quick thing on the deployment. With that larger choil up here in the front, if you have your fingers up here and you disengage it, it's going to land there. You can even come back here and it's going to land there. So it gives you a little safety if you do drop it like that on your fingers to close it. This locking mechanism is once again a new locking mechanism for Mr. Brian Winters, the mad scientist. Like I said earlier, it's a dual action lock because you can disengage it here, and it's called his J-Lock. It's a variant of the Stealth Lock from the Severn. So basically, you know, the Severn has the same thing here, but the Severn had this little tab that you have to pick up on that's connected there. This one, in my opinion, a lot better, a lot easier to get to. You just pull this back. Very, very smooth. This lock uses extension springs opposed to a compression spring. I'm guessing this one had a compression spring. So, still love this one though. Why don't we take a look at it after we did all that testing and see how this lock fared on the inside. All right, so here's a quick look at the inside. This is after all the testing. That's why I decided to take it apart, and I figured why not show y'all. Now, check this out. This thing is very cool. I lightly popped up the scales with this homemade pry bar that I made. So this is what he means by extension spring, kind of like what you see on a trampoline. So it's got tension when you pull. So right now it's somewhat under tension here and here. And then this right here is not contacting the blade. I know somebody had thought that this is just the lever to pull back on this to give you a secondary spot to disengage this lock. Your contact point is right here. And I did think it's kind of interesting the way that that's, you know, rounded. I guess being that it's rounded, you won't have as much stress in this part right here because your weakest link right here is the thinness right here. But as you saw, hopefully already, this knife can handle some tougher task. I don't recommend it, but ceramic bearings. And I don't know what kind of lube. I think he says it on this one. So I did put some new lube because I had all kinds of dirty gunk from batoning. So I put some OCD for EDC Slick-Em-All in there just so I didn't have to worry about it oozing out into this area. The last thing you want is lube to be on your lock face. So whenever you pull this top thing back, you're moving it away from the blade. And then there's your contact point right there. You can see mine's a little rough just from batoning and stuff like that. But I found, especially on like locks like this and the shark lock and stuff, when you leave, you know, that rougher face, it causes much better engagement, because, you know, when they first mill it, it definitely has the opportunity to be slick, and that could cause failure in the beginning. Pretty darn cool. Another thing, while I have this apart, look, it is D-shaped on both sides, so it's captured. Okay, now, after the video, I may put a little bit of blue Loctite on there just so it doesn't vibrate loose. Let me make sure there's no gunk in that hole. It looks like they already had some Loctite, maybe blue. I'm glad they didn't put permanent Loctite on it. And you may not have to take this. Let me see. I think I'm an idiot. I don't think you have to take this off. Yeah, I'm an idiot, peeps. I don't think you have to take this off. Let's see. It looks like it would have came out, but it makes it, I will say this, if you don't have to take it off, it does make it easier, because I was wiggling it, you know, it's tight in there. It looks like it does slide all the way through, but from the tension from here to here, it made my life a lot easier. So it was easy to take out. And there's your inside. Because of this being a fairly big knife, and you got some pretty wide liners, you got all this metal right here, and you have this wide titanium pocket clip. It is a little bit weightier than, you know, some of your smaller EDCs, or even the Factor. It's going to add a little bit extra weight, but the G10 variant is definitely going to be lighter than the all-tie variant. I can only imagine I forgot what that one weighs. So this one's coming in at we call it 5.2 ounces. I did not find it to be a problem. Maybe in my lightweight shorts, but in my jeans, it was a-okay. No issues whatsoever. And you don't have any flipper tabs sticking out. So when you put it in your jeans, you got enough, or at least I have enough lip there to go over the seams of my jeans. And you can put something else in there. It's not going to hit anything right here. There's no flipper sticking out. That's what I was trying to say. Now, you don't have a whole lot sticking out, and it holds it in there really good. Now, something I did notice, not so much with my jeans, but with my lightweight shorts, and, you know, it's really not an issue because a lot of people don't wear these type of shorts, but I did notice in my lightweight shorts that the way this clip sits right here, you have that chamfered hole. If you look at it on this side, it's sitting on the side of it. But I did find that I had a couple of instances when I was pulling out of the pocket, my lightweight shorts bunched up in that hole area, kind of grabbed it a little bit. It could have been a fluke because it only happened, I think, twice, but, you know, just something I wanted to mention. Now for some quick size comparisons, it is a little bit longer than the Winterblade Severn. I mean, just a hair longer than the Severn. It's a good bit longer than the Factor. Next up, it's a little smaller than the Ontario Rat 1, and it's a decent bit bigger than the Rat 2. And lastly, it's a little bit shorter. I mean, just a little shorter than the Spyderco PM2, and it's identical in length to my Spyderco Manix 2. All right, now for my nitpicks and complaints. I talked about one of them already. I do think that the spring could have been just a hair stronger, so it wouldn't be as easy to, you know, do that to it with the gravity drop. But like I said earlier, I don't think it's dangerous, and it does suck it back in nicely, so I'm okay with it. I would have loved to see maybe just 2 jimps right here at the end of this, just to make it a little bit grippier there. It's not bad, but if you're a fidgeter and you do like this, that I have slid off of it a few times just because I'm pulling back like that. Once I've gotten used to it, it's not really that big of a deal, but still would have been nice to have at least a little, like 2 jimps right there. And I'm usually not a jimping fan, but in that instance, I think it would have been great. And lastly, talked about the spot underneath the clip. It's not really that big of a deal because it's only happened in my super lightweight shorts. They get bunched under a lot of things. So my jeans, it was perfectly fine. It's got the perfect amount of spring to it. It functions nicely, at least I think it does. And for the most part, the ergos were pretty good. I haven't decided yet if the ergos are better on this or the M-Fire. I got one more portion of the testing for that to do. I think that'll be the next one that I release, unless y'all would rather see the large Factor 8 next. Just let me know in the comments which one of those y'all would like to see next. So, who's this for? If you're somebody looking for something unique, fidgety, super solid, well-built, then I can highly, highly recommend it. Now, it's not going to be cheap because there's a lot that went into this. You know, I think Brian comes up with a new locking system every night in his dreams. But you have a strong lock, a unique lock, super fidget friendly knife. It's a good slicer. I think the hardest problem I would have is choosing which of the three to get, because I know I probably couldn't afford all three, even though I still think I'm going to get the titanium scaled version as well if I can't. The standout features on this knife, definitely, like I said, is the brand new locking system, dual deploying lock, and the fantastic action to top it off. Super strong lock, or in my opinion, I think it's a strong lock. When a knife can handle batoning, it's a strong one. It's a very stressful thing to do for a knife that has all these moving parts. It's very stressful on all the joints. So, that's it for today's review. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like on it. It lets me know you're enjoying the content. If you like knife videos and EDC gear videos and you're not already, consider hitting that subscribe button. We'd love to have you join the family. Let me know your thoughts in the comments of the brand new Winterblade Veyron. Do you plan on picking one up? Thanks for watching, everyone. And remember, keep those blades sharp, smile more,